Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you had an awesome weekend. I wanted to kick off this week with a video. I received a message from somebody asking a question, and they basically asked me, how can they lead by example at work? How can they be better by leading by example? And the first thing it led me to think was a quote. It's my favorite quote. I use it all the time, and it is, standards create the energy by which the best companies and most effective people produce results. And that is a quote from Michael E. Gerber in the book called E-Myth Revisited. It's a great book. I recommend anybody read it, especially if you are running a business, if you are managing a team. It is all about how to process your business in order to scale it. So anyway, standards create the energy by which the best companies and most effective people produce results. That is how you should lead by example at work. That means have high standards all the time. You have high standards for yourself, high standards for your work, and then high standards for others. So the way I always envision it's a stupid analogy, but it's like this floating bar, right? And in an office, in a business environment, there's like this floating standard bar. And every time people make little, they're okay with something not being of a high standard, that bar starts to drop, right? Whether it's a leader not firing a person that's toxic, okay? Every single day that person stays, that becomes the standard that what that person is doing or their behavior, that's allowed. Simple stuff like trash being on the floor next to a garbage can. Whether you have certain reports or whether you have a part of a project with a team that is due and is supposed to be executed on a certain date, but every time you get to the meeting, you're like, well, I'm not done. Well, that needs to be addressed, because having high standards means like, hey, no, you said you were going to have this done. You said you were going to have it done on this date. So in order to have high standards, first have them for yourself. And a part of that is holding yourself accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, you can't hold others accountable. Because when you try to lead by example, that means that people have to see that, A, you're fallible, yeah, you make mistakes, you're okay with mistakes, and that when you make mistakes, you point to yourself, you don't point to others, okay? So when you hold yourself accountable, you can then hold others to those high standards as long as you do it the right way. Calling people out, embarrassing people, often talking to people in front of other people. Pull somebody aside, have a conversation, support them, let them know that this is what you see, you'd love to see this. Ask if they need help. Is there anything they don't understand that they need to know? That's how you lead by example. Last part, I think, is handling tough conversations well, right? A lot of people don't do that. They shy away from tough conversations. They get emotional during tough conversations. Whether that's a mistake that you made, a mistake that a team member made, issues inside the office, whatever it is, everybody's seen them. Everybody's been a part of it. Handle those conversations well. Try to be objective. Don't be so emotional that you just blurt out something or get aggravated or start to point the fingers. Really try to understand what's happening in that tough conversation and see the other person's side of things. Be open-minded. It's very difficult, but handle that conversation well. When people see you holding yourself accountable, handling tough conversations well, and also having high standards for your work and constantly executing your work at a high standard, you're keeping that bar floating really high, okay? Whether you're a leader or whether you are not. So that is how I would recommend to anybody that wants to lead better at work by example to start there. It's very high level. Obviously, there's a ton more information and things you could dive into. But those are my 2 cents. I hope that helps anybody out there, and would love to hear comments, and hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.